It is 9 minutes past 11. You're with Gareth Hall here on RSN Central. It's time to have a chat to Dean Evans from Winning Edge Investments. As I pointed out before, he's been one hell of a find for us here on RSN Central throughout the Spring Carnival. And today we are going to preview the $1 million race at Kembla Grange tomorrow afternoon. It's called the Gong. Good morning to you, Dean.
Good morning, Gareth. How are you going?
Good, thank you. Kembla Grange, we've learned a little bit about this track on a Saturday afternoon over the last 6 or 7 weeks when Randwick was out of play. And it can be a track that can be sometimes difficult to read.
Yeah, it's as far as the provincial tracks go in New South Wales, it's probably got one of the longest straights. But in spite of that, it sort of plays differently, particularly depending on the weather. If it's a firm track, it's often the rails and on pace. Like a lot of tracks in Australia are the best place to be. But when it gets wet, it actually becomes very swooperish, and they can come out very wide.
So it's a good four at the moment. What are you expecting? How the track will play tomorrow? Is there rain predicted in New South Wales?
Yeah, there is, and so it's always a bit tricky to assess. It has been sort of throughout the spring, but there's anywhere between 8 to 15 millimetres forecast. At the moment, they're sort of saying that there's thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening, so that's probably what makes it a bit tricky. This race is at 4:40, and if a thunderstorm does come, it changes things. But I guess we've just got to assess in a good track for now and hope the weather holds off. All
right, let's have a look at these runners. In the Tab Gong there tomorrow, race 8 at Kembla Grange. I Am Superman. I guess there's no Eduardo there today. He's a $7.50 chance for the informed Snowden team, and Tommy Berry's seeing them pretty well as well at the moment.
Yeah, look, he's a very good chance. I Am Superman. He's drawn to just get a beautiful run. There's a lot of speed in this race from the likes of the Crackerjack, Blue Soldier, Archidemus, and Dawn Passage. But I Am Superman sort of matched from that gate one to sit right behind them and get a lovely trail. The horse is absolutely a big winning chance, but the key to this horse is a dry track. So for me, this horse is quite simple. The dry track is a strong winning chance. If it does get to sort of rain on the day and you're looking at a soft 6 or worse, then I'd be looking elsewhere.
Can Birdie Beck win first up for John O'Shea and Huey Bowman?
I think it's a bit of a hard ask winning a race like this. It's only been around for 2 years. But these sort of big races, you want a bit of fitness on your side, and I think he might just be a run short here.
James McDonald rides Arameo for Chris Waller at $8.
Yeah, I think that's a really big plus, and I've got Arameo on top at the moment. We talked about this horse a bit through the spring, but every run he's put in, he flew home for second behind Zaki first up, flew home for third against the Bias and the Bull Ritchie, and then we've beaten the Nose and the Epsom, and the form around that's been pretty strong. And then I think it was a bit flat going to Melbourne and racing the Cantala. Was probably ridden too close on a strong speed, but I think been back here with James McDonald on board. I think he's the one to beat at a nice price.
One of our listeners brought this up there when we had Gator on our show yesterday, saying, is Arameo, he's just a better horse, the Sydney Wave going?
That could be true. That could be the case, and I think he gets a really positive rider change here, and the other thing is his 3 runs were all where he was ridden very cold. Where he ran well, and maybe he was just winning a bit close. So it could be any of those factors. But I think with J Mac aboard and a colder ride, he gets the chance to get back to his best form, which is could win this for sure.
Gareth Hall, Dean Evans with you. We're going through the runners for the Gong on Saturday afternoon at Kembla Grange, worth $1 million. Arameo is Dean's number 1 selection. He just told us why. Let's have a look at Count de Rupee now. Dean, he's the favourite for the price team. Ryan takes the ride at $3.60.
Yeah, look, I mean that run in the Golden Eagle was very strong. He nearly stole it for the price team and only got nabbed by I Am Thunderstruck late. The trick here is Brock Ryan's got just a challenge on his hands from sort of gate 17. He might come into 15. But he's just going to have some work to do. Count de Rupee doesn't get too far back, so I've sort of got him mapping 6th or 7th. But the key is he's probably going to be 3 wide, and he's just going to need some cover. And it's going to take a super ride from Brock to get him home here. He's going to have to run a really strong mile despite sitting, potentially 3 wide. So I think there's a couple of queries with him, and whilst he sort of rates well and strong chance, I think it's at $4. I'm just looking to back a couple of others given the way he maps.
Crackerjack's the 5 for Newnham and Josh Parr.
Yeah, I think he's just not quite the horse that he was previously. He pulled up with a poor recovery last start, where he was disappointing, and I think he needs to find a bit.
Nudge for Collett and Waller at $18.
Yeah, look, I think the key is getting back to the mile. Last couple of mile runs, she's had. She won at Group 3 level, and then 500k race as well. She hit the line pretty well in the Hot Danish last start, and she's going well enough. And I think at sort of $19, she's one of the good roughies in the race.
All right, that's number 6, Nudge. Archidemus the 7 for Team Hawkes and Jay Ford.
He did win this race last year. He's sort of drawn the outside gate in 19 here, and it's just questionable whether he's going as well. I think he sort of ran 8th in the Shannon. That was proven a very weak form race, and then he was poor last start, although he did miss the start. But, I think he's a knockout hope, given he won the race last year, particularly if it's a good track, but I think he's just not going as well.
There was some money around for Dawn Passage in last week's Hunter, and he's at $18 third up, but he's got a couple of duck eggs to his name this preparation for Waterhouse and Bott, and Timmy Clark rides.
Yeah, there was some money around, and after sort of a tough first up run behind Eduardo, I sort of thought with a kinder run he'd run better in the Hunter, but he was disappointing again. He ran second in this race. He was sort of beaten ahead by Archidemus in this race last year, but he was coming up a Group 1 placing, so I think he's just not going in as well enough form. And again, I'm going to bet around him until he shows us the form he's capable of.
Reloaded is a big price for Chris Waller and Glenn Schofield.
Yeah, big price. I think just not really going well enough. I think the Shannon Stakes form was quite weak, and he was well beaten in the Epsom, so I'm looking for others.
What about the Victorian Rich Hips for Busselton and Young and Regan Bayliss?
Yeah, she seems to be sort of a 1,400-metre specialist. Loves Flemington and goes well against the mares. I think the mile, it's a little bit of a query with her, and so probably a place chance at best.
A Tissue, another one for Chris Waller. McAvoy rides, and she's kept safe at $6.50.
Yeah, she was sort of solid in the Epsom handicap, beaten around 2 lengths, and then she got back in the Golden Eagle and sort of went okay. She's done a lot sort of in her first prep in Australia. Maybe she's coming to the end of it, and I just think she's a bit too short, really, at $6.50, given the way she's going.
Blue Soldiers at $31.
Yeah, he had his first run for David Payne last start at Hawkesbury in the Ladies' Day Cup and won it, which was a solid effort. This is a big step up here. He's also got the synthetical filler, and he's not going to get the sort of soft lead that he got there. So I think he's going to have a lot more pace and get annoyed up front. So I think he's going to find it hard to win.
Pete's texted in and says, I think Creaderas is a big chance. He's my roughie of the weekend for Godolphin in the Gong. He's at $18. Do you agree with one of our listeners, Pete there, Dino?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a question mark who's riding the horse.
Yes.
They still have a jockey, so I'm not even sure if he's running. But, on his best form, he's a talented horse. I think he sort of missed the Hunter run. I think he needs to sting out of it. I think if the stings out of the ground and the swooping, then I think he can come into the race.
Soldier of Love for Baker and King at $26.
Yeah, both times Rachel King has ridden horses prep, he's won, and we've backed him both times, including 40-1 second up, because he just trialled really well ahead of this prep. He goes well on rain affected, and I like the horse coming back from 2,000 metres to a mile. So I think, again, if it's a wet track, soft 6 or worse, I think Soldier of Love is one of the best roughies. Exo
Booms at $26 for Robbie Dolan and Team Snowden.
Yeah, probably another, if it's wet, he'll like it. He did sort of run home well to win at Randwick, and then was, well beaten and held in the Golden Eagle. I think there's others better over a mile, but, place chance on the wet.
Yamasaki's at $34 for Dunn and Atkins.
Yeah, probably another that kind of will get back and hit the line as a place chance best sort of over the mile.
Look Like Elvis, Groove Fairy, Pari Sound and Brutality. Those 4 horses are the emergencies. If any of those gallopers get a start, do you want to be playing?
I don't think so. I think none of them will be good enough for this.
All right, mate. What's your tip? You're sticking with the J-Mac and Chris Waller show.
Yeah, look, I think Arameo definitely on top. I think the $9 is a really nice price. It runs to a best in handicap run. I think it wins this. I think if the track stays dry, then I Am Superman is the big danger. And I think the two best roughies are probably Nudge and Soldier of Love.
Do you have an opinion on the Ballarat Cup?
I do think, sort of that. There was talk it was going to be raining, but I'm understanding now it could end up being a good track. And I think if it is, sort of that's just absolutely fine. It's done it both on hot speeds and on soft tempos. So I think, it'll be hard to beat. I think Zaydan is probably the key danger. And I thought the best roughie at sort of 40 to 1 was Bartholomew Diaz, who was really unlucky in the Benalla Cup, and should have won that over the 2,000, then just didn't get the 2,400 last start, but it drops back to 2,000 here, and at 40 to 1, I think it's the best roughie.
Mail is that Treasured Star's a superstar. She goes around in the WA Guineas, and Western Empire is one of the shortest price favourites in that great race's history across there in Western Australia for the Railway Stakes at $1.70. Do you have an opinion on a big day at Ascot there tomorrow, Dean?
I think that in the WA Guineas, it's a Ray Day is a real danger to Treasured Star. Treasured Star match to be right out the back. There's blinkers first time, but it's a Ray Day, drawn barrier 1, see it mapping, either sort of just behind the leader or sort of, 2 pairs back and getting a really gun run. And I think it's got a very good turn of foot. And I think, Treasured Star might have some trouble running it down. So I quite like it's a Ray Day at sort of $4. In the Railway, I think Western Empire obviously rates on top, but $1.70 is very, very skinny. Just looking at the sectionals and the comparison of this horse, I think he's unders because, Grant Alana Williams and William Parker have won this race 3 years in a row. But if I look at the other horses, I'd say they all sort of had better performances than this one comparatively on sectionals. And he's got the exact same profile as Regal Power. He came off a sort of Derby win and then won first up and then won his race. But Regal Power sort of SP'd at $10 and won by a neck. And now you're being asked to take $1.70 about a similar horse. So I'd rather be laying him at $1.70. I don't think he's unbeatable. I think he's still the one to beat, but I just think it's way too skinny. And maybe a horse that's strong on pace and in form like Massimo might prove to be hard to run down.
We've got Michael Gangemi joining us for the Metro Form Express to have a chat about Massimo and also, of course, Notorious One, who is, he's green, but he's got plenty of ability.
Yeah, something about this race, horses in form in the last 3 starts have pretty much won every event. Anything that's sort of run the first 3 at last 3 starts are within 2 lengths, and he's got two runners that fit that bill.
Yep.
So I think he's got 2 really strong chances of knocking off the hot pot.
Who was your roughie once again in the Ballarat Cup? A few text messages has just come through there.
Bartholomew Diaz.
Yep. If he goes
right down the bottom there. It's currently an emergency, but I think it might squeeze and get a run. It's 40 to 1, so I'd back it now because sometimes when these emergencies get a run, their prizes flash.
Yep, currently now into $34. Great stuff, Dean. Thanks for that, mate. Good punting over the weekend. And for the RSN 927 listeners, it's just not your racing tips with your experts at Winning Edge Investments. We have a lot of fun following the NBA here on RSN Central as well. So you've got some smart people doing the NBA form as well, mate. And all you need to do is type in RSN 927 or RSN in capital letters, and you get a 50% discount. So already you're a winner.
Yeah, that's right. Look, there's a wide range of options. Our NBA service has been going really, really well. We've got NFL as well, English Premier League, and there's sort of NRL and AFL heading into next year. So plenty of sporting options as well as the racing. And they type on RSN, you'll get 50% on your first service.
Good on you, Dino. Thanks for that, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Gareth.